That's what I'm worried about now is where the locality does matter. If you have a mediocre product, it's that. If it wasn't for food, I'd have no business at all. I've done other things, of course. I'm multifaceted when it comes to having to get through and make money. But I always worked for someone else making money. So food for me was my catalyst, the passion. Some of it may be scripted now, but it's all based off of what happened. That's why it's so natural for these chefs that became celebrity chefs to purvey this. Yes, there's so many things that go on, from the yelling, screaming. It's all under pressure. It's all under pressure because when you have a dining room full of people, not one of them is thinking the same, and they all want everything yesterday, and they all don't want to hear your excuse, and they all have their version of why you suck.
Have you ever felt it? That something bigger is unfolding around you. That one connection that changed everything. I'm Greg Tomczyk, and each week we bring you the stories of connection that create real change. Now let's dive into this week's episode. Tony, welcome to the Connected Experience.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Honored.
Glad you're here, man.
Thank you.
So if we lost the meaning of what food was actually meant to do for us in the ultra processed world that we're in today?
I think we lost the experience. I don't think we lost the idea.
Absolutely.
I think the people who don't have the idea are just born into this new realm, so they never even had it to lose, right? So I think that's what's going on. I think everyone who's experienced it before this ultra processed period misses it, but I don't think they lost it. I think they want it. They just don't know where to get it. That's the problem.
Yeah. How do we get it back? How do we bring it back?
Experience, man. Yeah. I think a lot of it has to do not so much with the food, but the communication amongst food, right? So when we're sitting there, you have passionate chefs who want to cook it, but we want to put it out to the masses. Well, the masses, unfortunately, aren't connecting anymore like they used to. So I don't think it's a matter of the food as much as it is the experience of eating, right? The communication, the company, the talking, the brotherhood, sisterhood, love, whatever it may be. I think that's what needs to come back. You bring that back, and all the food comes back instantly. You know? So,
what made you come to that realization? Was it an experience you had as a kid that was like, this is what it's supposed to be like, and I saw that as a gap in the world, so now I want to bring it to people in the community?
Yeah, I would say so. I think growing up in my Italian household, that it was always food was always the centerpiece, right? And even if you were in a bad situation, a good one, a celebration, or whatever it may be, the food was always the topic, right? So even if there was a plate of chicken cutlets simply there, you would be picking at it while you're talking, and it would keep people there longer. So food was always food was always around for me. So I really don't know how to say it any other way because I don't have any other experience.
Yeah, absolutely, man. What's your most vivid memory of that experience that surrounded food? Do you have one memory that sticks out?
No, my life is food. My life is food. So I have a lot of when I was young, my father was my family was foodies, big time, all Italian food all the time. So me and my sister would go around the table when we were little, and everybody would be done with their espresso cups, right? So we would go around and drink all the sugar out of the bottom of the cup. We would sneak around the thing, So that stuff like that always makes me remember stuff like that. We bake fruit in red wine. So you take the red wine, slice apples and stuff, and bake it, pears, and then we would eat that as kids. So those things always resonate with me. Functions and unfortunately funerals were always a big thing where we had great food. I always wait for someone to die so I could have some good manicotti or something. Someone's got to go. Someone's got to go.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's a part of the evolution. Right. How'd you take the identity shift from chef to owner and kind of navigating that whole transition?
Oh, it took me a long time. It was 10 years before I realized there was a difference. I was just a chef and owner, right? So I was always a chef who owned something. It wasn't until business started changing and I evolved and got into a couple different places and stuff like that. And then I had to become I had to work on my business and not in it. So it was that transition of realizing that I need to trust other people to do what I do, and I have to let that go. And that was the biggest problem for me. And I think that's a problem for most people, no matter what your industry is. Everyone thinks that they can't do it without you. It's 90% true, but that 10% is what's going to get you to become an owner in an entrepreneurial mindset instead of just a chef or a landscaper or a carpenter or whatever it is you may be, right? So I think once you are comfortable enough to learn how to pass the torch and accept it's not you, that's when I think is when I realized that. I would have to say that was about 9 to 10 years into my venture where I had that confidence.
Yeah, that confidence is key to get to that level.
Yeah, you have to know how to recoup. It's not so much about bringing them in because you've already done that. Now you have to recoup and make, if there's an issue, you have to learn how to fix the issue. That's kind of where it's more important, is that's when you can really get confident.
Yeah. What has the business of food done for you as a person, helped you evolve?
Oh, it's changed my life 100%. I mean, if it wasn't for food, I'd have no business at all. Right? I've done other things. Of course, I'm multifaceted when it comes to having to get through and make money, but I always worked for someone else making money. Right? So food for me was my catalyst. The passion was where it came from. I learned how to take my passion and get paid for it. Where everything else, you hear about it, you listen to podcasts, you read the memes and see the reels of do what you love. It's not so easy, right? Yeah. Somebody might love running a jackhammer, but unless they have their own jackhammer company, they're going to be doing it for someone else as part of something else, right? So it's whatever it is. That's the thing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. What is the Burnt Hands Perspective?
Burnt Hands Perspective is my podcast, and with my co-host Kristen. But what it is it's a podcast about the food, restaurant, bar industry. Okay, the service industry, basically. And actually, you know, we started out, and I started out with this idea and concept of how I'm going to talk about the industry from the bare bottom all the way up through the ranks, whether you're a dishwasher, a delivery driver, a chef, a cook, a bartender, a beer slinger, whatever it may be. The whole restaurant industry was going to get covered. So we started out with that, and it started out raw and raunchy. But as we grew and saw more people, it became very evident very fast that there's a lot more different levels of interest. People that aren't even in the restaurant industry listen to our show. So you can't always talk about the bad, funny, dirty, nasty, vulgar, and all that, because there's so many people that don't understand it as it being such a normal conversation. So if you didn't grow up in the restaurant industry, you have no idea what we're talking about. You just think I'm a raunchy guy, you know. And what's your level of vulgarity on this show? So I don't slip.
Wherever you want to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure if I cuss or something, it happens, right? Yeah. So any time that you are in that lifestyle, you talk about it, and it does get raunchy to people who's never lived in it. So as we grew and as we morphed, our topics kind of changed. We got a little bit more professional looks into it. We've got everyone now into the food world, sports side of it. We got people who are into the broadcasting side of it. So we're talking to people on so many different levels, right? For you, for instance, we're talking about food here on your show, which isn't typically the topic, right?
Exactly.
So here I am now talking about food on an entrepreneurial level. So that's what the Burnt Hands Perspective was. I started out really I wanted a raunchy show about the dirt and the underbelly of the kitchen and all that stuff. And it was fun, and it is fun. We still have that type of attitude and atmosphere, but we don't have control at this point. I don't have control over where that conversation or who's coming to our show is. It's actually kind of taken on its own identity, just like my restaurants. So one thing I've learned in all this is do not mess with that process, you know. Let it evolve to where you want, because if not, you get stuck in the mud, you know. Yeah. I'll always go back and throw out a fuck word here and there. I got to, you know what I'm saying? It's just who I am. We will talk about, you know, how a 3-day bender affects people in the kitchen, and we will talk about all that. That's great stuff. But how does a guy who makes ice cream in the desert have a beautiful thing he's got going now? That has nothing to do with the kitchen raunch. That has to do with entrepreneurial mindset. So we have to learn in our show how to kind of maneuver with all that, and it's been a great ride. So the Burnt Hands Perspective, to answer your question, is really about the restaurant industry, food culture, the ups and downs, and all that stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah, we meet and talk to a lot of great people, and travel and see things, and you know get to experience our somewhat critique, and there's all kinds of great openings to it, you know, and who knows where it's going to go.
Absolutely. That's the exciting part, that uncertainty that comes into play.
It is uncertain, but you know, the only certainty is if you keep doing it, it just gets better. It just takes time, you know. A lot of people, like, you know, you try and build these podcasts and stuff, and there's so many of them, but without consistency and you need to have content that matters and something that people relate to, and everyone relates to the restaurant industry. I mean, I think everyone has at least eaten in one if they didn't work in one, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's people know restaurants, you know. Yeah. So
Is the restaurant business as hectic as everybody assumes?
No,
that it is.
Not at all. Way worse. Way worse, man. So it's way worse. The reason why you watch Gordon Ramsay and all these guys, and it seems so cinematic. It's not. It's actually, that's really what's happening. They've learned how to make a show out of it to entertain you, but they didn't invent that script, right? Some of it may be scripted now, but it's all based off of what happened. That's why it's so natural for these chefs that became celebrity chefs to purvey this. Yes, there's so many things that go on from the yelling, screaming. It's all under pressure. It's all under pressure because when you have a dining room full of people, not one of them is thinking the same, and they all want everything yesterday, and they all don't want to hear your excuse, and they all have their version of why you suck. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things going on at all times. A lot of pressure. A lot of people this day and age, people handle pressure way differently if they even do it all. You know, so yes, it is extremely what you think it is all the time.
But worse.
Yeah, but worse. But worse today? Yes, it's worse today because now I'm going back 15 years, not 10. That's too soon. 15 years is when it started really changing, where you can really see the change. 10 years ago, it got really bad, and 5 years ago, forget it. Sometimes I question how the restaurant industry is going to go because I've said this before in some of my podcasts, but you can't change the problem with niceness, kindness, understanding, empathy. A problem's a problem. Yeah. If something's burning, it's burning. No matter how nice you are to the person burning it, you're still burning it in the middle of this rush, and we have shit to do. So you can't be less empathetic than the problem actually is. So how do you sit down, go to human resources, think about how you're going to handle a problem when the problem itself has never changed? It's still the same problem, right? Yeah. So how do you handle it differently? It's very hard for some people, you know? And other people think that you shouldn't have yelled at me. You shouldn't have burnt 3 steaks. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So that's the problem is the people. So it's interesting. It's fun.
Yeah. What's the hardest or biggest problem that you've had to solve in those 15 years of, you know, owning a restaurant, being the person when everything's burning, they're looking at you, asking you to solve the problem.
There's the difference. I think that they don't ask me. I just step in and do it. So I'm probably a bad person. I think problem solving things outside of the kitchen, for instance, if you have a full dining room and somebody decides to drunk drive down the street and hit the generator box that just shut down the whole power block, you know, and now we don't have power. People can't pay their bills. Those are the problems that are, oh shit, this is real. You know, we can put out a fire, we can unburn stuff, we can remake things. But those are the issues. Those are the fun ones, man. When the building's collapsing or something, that's a problem. When a flood, you know, here's a prime example. I walked in my restaurant this morning to go pick up some stuff to bring it to my market, and I hear noise. What the hell's going on? I look out in the dining room and there's water everywhere. One of the pipes had blown off the sink, and all night it's been shooting straight in the air. That's what I walked into this morning, and I had to be down here to open my market because my staff was waiting for me here. How do you solve that problem? You shut the water off. You call people and say, come clean this mess, and hopefully they do by the time I get back to work. Yeah. So it's really hard to answer that, dude, because there's so many things that happen, and it's daily. Yeah. The restaurant life is a problem. There's no such thing as not. It's a problem. Yeah. So hug your chef. Hug your local food purveyor. Hug your restaurateur. Yeah. They need it. We're not okay. We're not okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Right. So
how do you know? Because it seems like from the outside looking in, you've had opportunities that you've like the market, like opening the market. How did you know which opportunities to take and which ones potentially?
They kind of talk to you.
Yeah, exactly.
They kind of talk to you, man. And when they keep talking, you keep listening. A lot of them will turn their back to you in a second. You'll try and have the conversation with the idea, and it will just turn its back on you. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just the way it is. So sometimes the idea keeps talking to you. That's me anyway. I might be crazy, guilty, but. You know, no, I mean, a lot of the things that have succeeded for me, the idea was talking to me and kept bringing me to it. A lot of times I have an idea and I keep trying to bring it to life and it will not happen. The idea turns its back on me. So that's what happens there. And then it just happens naturally. Yeah. You know, it flows. So many ideas I have, and only the people say, you got so much going on. No, I don't. If you knew what was going on up in my head, and if that all came true, we'd all be screwed. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I only have so much I can do because the ideas, only those ideas that are successful for me that everyone happens to see on the surface, those are the ones that talk to me and brought me in. The ideas I have that I think I could do, they're not answering me. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of how that works.
Yeah. Yeah. We talk a lot about the ideal recipe for our experience, like our full life experience. But I'm curious, when you think about, you know, food pairings, you know, what kind of comes to mind? Like what helps you identify the ideal pairing that is going to go with the dish or the recipe that's going to be right for you?
Yeah, sure. So that's a good idea. That's a good concept. Let's use wine, for instance. So anytime you want to pair wine to a drink, I guess that's kind of where you're going. Yeah. What I do first of all is I look at what the person's coming for, and then I pair everything around that concept. So if they're coming in for a wine dinner, obviously the wine, we want to make sure the star of the show is the wine. So the catalyst is, here's the wine, taste the wine, drink the wine, sleep on it. And again, that idea is going to start talking to you. But you still want to focus it around the wine. So I know chefs, and even guilty of myself, when I was premature in this game, when I was less smart in it, I would come up with this dazzling menu and then present it to the wine people, kind of beating the bush here. So it took me a while to learn that, okay, what is the premise of what we're doing, right? So if you want a piece of Wagyu steak to be your feature, you want to make sure that's the most dominant thing on the plate, right? Everything else should accompany it. Everything else should make it great, but that steak should be accelerated, not elevated. It should have already been up here. Everything around it should accelerate the elevation, but you shouldn't have everything to elevate the steak. See what I'm saying? So you should have the steak in your mind as a chef should already be elevated, and everything else should accelerate that elevation to where it's like, oh shit, popped, you know? Yeah. So that's what I do is I go for I go from the bullseye out. Instead of the other way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you have to be able to identify levels of importance. Sounds like you
levels of where people are expecting their money to be. If you're going to go have a dinner with a confit lobster tail, but everything else on the dish is so overpowering on that confit lobster tail, people are going to wonder, did they just pay $75 for sous vide Romanesco, or where's their lobster tail? That's what it is. So elevate your lobster tail and make everything else around it. That's how I look at it, is what is it you're trying to sell the person? What is in front of them on a menu? How are you going to win their trust? If you're going to tell somebody, you go to a lot of restaurants now, it's the trend to say 4 of the ingredients that are in a dish that are multi-ingredient dishes, right? Especially on the Michelin level. Yeah. You'll go in there, let's just use the word, say a fish, any fish you want. What fish do you like to eat?
Cod.
Cod. Yeah. So you have a cod, say it's a confit cod, right? You'll see it. Confit cod, lavender, wine, gremolata, right? Yeah. But when you get the dish, there's broccolini, there's prosciutto, there's this, there's all kinds of other stuff on there, right? So then you're looking at the thing, where's my cod? So the cod was this big, and everything else made that cod dish $75, right? Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So that's what I think you got to do, is let the customer believe in you and trust you there. You know?
Yeah, the trust is critical. That keeps people coming back.
Yeah.
How many people try a restaurant and come back? Have you ever looked into the numbers of reoccurring? You know, what we say reoccurring.
Yeah, that's hard because every restaurant's different. If the national average you should want is about 60% people should be coming back, because that's kind of what, you know, I aim for 100%, of course, and I work my way down, but that's impossible just because of locality, and not everybody can come back even if they loved it, right? So, you know, but you want them to come back because they had a great time and they want to come back. You know, a lot of people, there's 10%, 20%, you'll never make happy. They'll never come back again, right? Yeah. So you want to keep that percentage high. Your expectations should be above 60 to 80, 70%. You should really be shooting for that high, you know?
If you're leading a team or organization right now, you know connection is no longer optional. I help teams build trust, navigate uncertainty, and lead with clarity in a changing world. Through real stories and practical insight, your audience will leave more confident and ultimately more connected. To bring me in to speak, visit gregtomczyk.com/book to speak. That's gregtomczyk.com/book to speak. Now let's get back to the conversation. Yeah, I'm sure restaurant owners struggle with finding the right location for their type of food. I'm curious why you chose Norfolk or this area. Were you from here?
Well, I'm not from here. No, I'm from New Haven, Connecticut originally. So I'm stationed down here in the Navy a long time ago, and I ended up staying because I love the beach and I just loved it down here. My opportunity for Norfolk came out perfectly because it was just out of the blue and it talked to me, like I said. And I just went in there and rocked it out. Now, the other Chesapeake location, they came to me with a great offer and situation, and I decided to go with it. You know, couldn't pass it up. Right now is my question of locality. Now I am branded. I have a name. I have a following. I have a trust. I have awards. I have all this stuff. Now it's crucial where I go. Yeah. So now I'm very picky on where I'm more so picky on where I'm not going to go than where I am going to go. Yeah. My list of where I would never go is this big, and where I would go is this big, because where I go next, if I go anywhere next, is going to be another 10-year commitment on my life. And as I grow and get older and as I age, I got to be careful because I'm chipping away at my life towards the end. You know, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. You know, I know I look 28, but sorry.
You got the energy.
Sorry, people. Yeah. So, you know, it's Yeah, that's it. So, that's what I'm worried about now is where the locality does matter. If you have a mediocre product, it's that. You heard it say location.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah.
If your product is mediocre and you think it's much more than what it is, and you just have a mediocre problem, if you're doing chicken wings and stuff like that, like everybody else, absolutely location matters. If you have something unique, exquisite, they will come to you no matter what. If your quality constantly is produced and they can have faith in that, they will come from anywhere. Yeah. You can put a restaurant in the middle of a cornfield in Suffolk. If it is amazing and people know they can go there, they will go there. Mediocrity is where the location affects you more, because you need to be, if you have to be in a place where someone has to drive to you or really go out of their way to get to you and you're only mediocre, they're not going. They're going to drive to the person that they know is a fact good, Yeah. So I think if people keep their standards, their quality up, and they really put out product all the time and worry more about product than profit, your location doesn't matter. You can have an island off the coast and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you guys have probably talked about this on your show, but I see a lot of people that own restaurants, they start with very high quality, and then over time, and maybe it's the margins.
Dude, you know what? That you just hit it right on the head. I was talking to one of my staff members today about that. I have a saying for that, and I say it in my kitchen all the time. Don't ever sacrifice my quality for your convenience, okay? Ever. It is, if you have to take, making a simple sandwich, and you have a piece of Eureka or provolone, and you're using a grater, and you're shaving it per sandwich. Matter of time, someone is actually going to take that and they're going to make a whole pre-thing shaved of. The difference between your freshness, quality, and the convenience you just created for yourself is the freshness. That's where it all goes away. So a lot of restaurants are doing that. They start off gung-ho. They're tired. They want to go on vacation. They leave their kitchen alone, so the guy will go in there and prep a bunch of stuff, hoping it will get him through the week. It did get him through the week. It worked. Now let's do that again. Oh, well, let's just keep doing it that way now. That's one less thing I have to do. You do that 5 or 6 different times, you just altered everything you were doing from the beginning, right? So that's what a lot of these sandwich shops do. They had 3 or 4 locations, then they blew up, then they went national on a franchise, and now you have crap because they have to do it that way. There's no way you can survive, right? Yeah. So keeping quality top-notch for less profit is always going to win. Sorry to tell people who don't believe me. They can all suck an ass. I don't care. It's the way it is. I'm proof in the pudding, Yeah. Don't worry so much about the extra profit. Focus on the quality and the consistency. Don't ever give up your quality for convenience. If you do that in any profession, just pack it up right now. As soon as you start thinking that, you're already stepping out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Then you can't step out because the next chef or next person, whoever it is coming in underneath you hot,
Yeah.
So
that's the mic drop. So I hear this common theme of listening when you have an idea, kind of hearing what it's saying to you. Where did you get that ability or that skill to do that? Because it is rare people actually listen to what the environment's trying to tell them.
A lot of bad decisions. Yeah, a lot of bad decisions, man. So there was I can name multiple things that I've listened to the wrong way, or I tried making them listen to me and it just didn't work out. And it took 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years out of my life to realize I was trying to force it. And it just isn't meant to be. I didn't have what it takes. I wasn't in the right spot, whatever it may be. So I think my own experience, and that doesn't just mean in cooking, that means in anything, life alone. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly something that I've learned over time, is that you're not going to force something to happen if it's not going to happen. You can force it all you want to, but it's only going to be a temporary fix. It's not going to be longevity, so that's where I learned that from.
Yeah. That's the wisdom. Comes from experience.
I think so. If you want to call it wisdom, I'll take it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this quality over convenience concept is interesting. I think it gets put on a platform in restaurants, but a lot of other business owners don't see it. I know you've owned other businesses and been in other types of
I've done other
before.
things, yeah. And look, I'll use the contracting right now for an example, okay? You have elite contractors who know what they're doing. They take their time, take their pride, get the right teams, and they'll spend the money. They'll allocate what needs to be done first and then worry about the profit later. Everybody else now, a lot of people now are worried about the profit, and they're going to worry about the allocation of their funds on a much different level because they're focused on the profit first. Oh, we get this job. It's $1 million job. Man, if we can get 50% of that profit, let's just try and do that. They're not worried about giving the person what they want. They're worried about giving the profit to them first. And that's where they all go wrong. Instantly, you'll find that one person somewhere out there who's worried about your product, your results, and then the profit after. And that's what I do in the restaurant. I have bills to pay. I have rent to pay. That has to be done. That's all taken out. My profit as a person, I'm just hoping it keeps going the way it does. Do it right, the money will come in. The money will come in. Eventually, it'll add up past what you need, and there's profit. Worry about that when it's time. My CPA wouldn't tell me it was, she'll tell me if there's profit. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, to me, I'm always in the red, man. Mentally, I'm always in the red. So I have to dig, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we get impatient. We get impatient with the time it takes to.
Yeah, well, right. You get impatient because a lot of people want instant results. It's either that or they want the results in money, or they want the results in some sort of local fame, or they want to be the man or the woman. They want to be the boss bitch or whatever it may be, right? And that doesn't come. That comes with time, and that comes when other people tell you that, not when you do, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that we can go on all day about that stuff. That's crazy because there's such a lack. There is such a lack of quality, consistent people out there who are artisans or purveyors or contractors or whatever, restaurateurs.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. When you think about who you've become through the restaurant business, did you think that was the person you were going to become when you first started in it? Person you've evolved into?
I didn't think I'd be as business savvy as I'm becoming. As far as a person, I've always been the same guy. Yeah. Always been the same knucklehead, hardhead, asshole, funny, jokester, emotional, empathetic, non-empathetic. As far as that, you know, tunnel vision, open up to everybody, close down, all that, I've always been the same fucking person. As far as my business etiquette and learning that real fast, no, I'd never imagined that because I didn't really know what it was. So I couldn't imagine it. Yeah. So I'm definitely, the restaurant business and the food industry has definitely put me in a position and in front of some very influential people that I've never been in front of before. You know, I might have always been because of the timing or where I was in my life at the time, I was always I want to say smartest, but the most educated or rounded person in any room I would be in. That's far from the case now. You know, I'm always the third guy in the room trying to catch up to the other two. It seems, which is a much better place to be, you know. But if I wasn't in this restaurant industry, I wouldn't have that experience and that connection to the business. So yes, as a person, always been the same. I'm sure I've changed here and there, of course, hopefully for the better. But as far as business, absolutely, it's definitely changed me.
As an owner and somebody who's been in the restaurant business for a long time, how do you choose where you go out to eat if it's not at your own spot?
Dude, I don't fucking do it, man. Everybody asks me that question, and it's a valid question. I don't give a shit. I'll eat a cheeseburger. I'll eat a smash burger with you. We'll go out and have this. And when I'm going to get a real good experience, it's well beyond the conversation I'm having with you. And I don't know your knowledge of food. I don't know anything about that, so please don't take this the wrong way. But my level of what I consider when I go out looking for a restaurant that you're talking about is on a much different level of education than you or absolutely. Him or her or whatever. I'm going as a experienced chef who knows everything about what I'm going to do. That is a very small handful of places, whereas you could go get impressed by a lot of places, right? Rightfully so, you should. That's the point. But there are severe chefs that would come into my restaurant and it'd be, to them, mediocre. I go into some places that are so good to everybody, and to me, it's mediocre. So I don't judge where I'm going anymore. If I'm craving something, like I do all the time, I'll go get it. I don't judge. If I want a steak with my friends, I look at my friends I'm with, see who can afford what. Because if it was up to me, I would go to the best chop house in the planet. But sometimes I want to go to Texas Roadhouse too. You know what I mean? So it's just, it doesn't matter to me really. That only matters when I'm going to get wowed. There's a list that I can't really tell you because it's long and but there's a list of places I'll go to get wowed. There's a whole bunch of places I go to just normally like anybody else that don't wow me, but they're okay. And there's a shitload of places I'd never step into. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know if I confused you on that.
No, it's perfect. Yeah. You have a different level of experience than the listener does, but I'm sure they're asking,
they ask me all the time. Yeah. You know, the biggest thing too I get all the time is I don't want to cook for you. You're a chef. Do you know how fucking devastating that is to people? you know, chefs that want someone to cook. You can make me ramen noodles and put some grilled chicken in it. And that, to me, that'd be amazing because it's not what you think. We're not judging and critiquing everybody. I go to a Michelin star restaurant, I'm judging and critiquing. I'm going to, not even a Michelin, I shouldn't even say that. I'm going to a really high-end restaurant where the chefs are well-known and very, very good. Michelin is just another tiny, tiny percentage. I just say that because so many people relate to it. They go right there in their mind. So I use that example. But there are so many freaking cities that have so many amazing restaurants, right? And I'll go to those high-level restaurants to get wowed. But, you know, when you want to cook for a chef, I'm not judging your food. I'm not judging if you overcooked a pork chop. I don't give a shit. You're eating it too, man. You know what I mean? We're both going to sit here and chew it together. I don't care. I'm not judging you. I would have cooked it a little less, but you know what I mean? I'm not judging. Thank you very much for the food, man. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. So, you know, I've had friends, whatever it may be, that wouldn't even damn pour me a bowl of cereal. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man. I want to eat too, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what would you say to Tony 15 years ago when you're going to start the restaurant? Anything you would impart on him to set him up for where you're at today?
You don't need another line. You're okay right now. Stop doing that. You know what I mean? And if you do that Jaeger again, you're probably going to do another line. So cut the shit. That would have helped me out 15 years ago. That would have been a good thing. You know, there's a lot of things I could tell myself 15 years ago that I wouldn't even remotely come to now, that being one of them, right? So there was a lot of old habits and a lot of partying, a lot of situations, a lot of things I've done that I would I'm a totally different man. So if I went back 15 years in time, I would probably look at myself with a lot of shit, man, everything.
Yeah.
You know, it built me to who I am today. So I wouldn't take away everything. But there are some things I've done to people probably along the line, or I've done to myself, that I probably could do without, you know? Yeah. But other than that, yeah, I'm a totally different human being, all in the good, you know? And I think there's a lot of things I would have told myself 15 years ago. But I don't know if I would. You know what I mean? I don't know if I would. I really don't know if I would. Yeah. Because I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I know people say that, but I have a different connection with that. I think that I came from a rough place, and right now I'm where I am. And if I didn't do if things didn't happen to put me where I am right now, I might still be in that rough place. So I don't know if I'd go back and tamper with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would just say, go on, bud. Yeah. Roll on with it.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, yeah. No, it's perspective. When I saw your show, everything you're putting out in the world, it's insightful to hear that you're giving it out in an authentic and raw way. Yeah. Because that doesn't happen enough. And
it is all raw. Everything we do is raw. You know, that's the problem, is everybody is so worried about being filtered or not offending, but yet you go home and you remember you can't say that. Why are you telling yourself you can't say it? Your mouth's right here and it can come right out of it. You don't tell. Yes, you can say that. You can say whatever you want. You can do whatever you want to. Why are you pretending you can't? You know, Of course, there are certain things you don't say. That's human etiquette, right? But for the most part, if you don't like something, you should say it out loud. You know, if you don't want to be somewhere, you should not be there. If you don't want to like somebody around you, get rid of them. You know, it's that simple. You know,
absolutely.
If you don't like being in this genre of type of person, get away from them. It doesn't make you a bad person, or you know, it doesn't make you think that you're, I don't even know, I want to use words that don't even make sense here, but you know, if you don't like a certain group of people, don't go there. Yeah. Get out of it. Go over there. You know, I don't like that. I don't like what you're doing. It's not making me comfortable. Just go over there. I'll stay over here. And I don't want nothing bad to happen to you. I just don't want to be part of what you consider good. I don't like it. Bye. I don't know why people aren't stop doing that. Yeah. You know, they'll put themselves in a group and then get mad, or they'll get in trouble because they were in the group too long. And then something happened and that group turns on them. And then they're this, that, the other. Dude, you should have left right from the beginning and told them, I don't like you. Go over there and do your shenanigans. Yeah. What's wrong with that? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's been excellent to have you on the show. The way we like to round it out is, Tony, what does it mean to experience connection to you?
You trying to trick me on the end?
No.
To me, to experience connection is rare. It's very rare. So that's why I'm stuttering a little bit. You actually got me here. And that's rare too, is to get me stumped. But connection is a very hard thing to find, right? Sometimes you think you have it and you don't. Sometimes connection to me is more rare than pretty much anything else in the world. I really think so. I think that I think everybody wants it and they force it and things happen that way. But when you're connected to something, I think that's something that is something to hold on to for sure. I think that, man, that's a good question, dude. That's deep. Start crying. Can I get a tissue? But I think that I think that it's connection's tough, man, because there's not enough of it. It's hard, especially this day and age. It's really hard this day and age to be connected, right? It's hard. It's just hard because of all the things we have. It's almost impossible, and it's almost taboo, and it's almost not allowed to be connected, or else you're doing something wrong. It's just weird. It's a tough question. A good question. I'd have to think. Now I'm going to ponder that. I should have said this. I should have said that. That'll be part 2.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll bring him on our show.
Yeah.
Right? I'll bring you on our show. And how we round it out here is, what do you think about connection?
Yeah, I love it, man. Tony, thanks so much.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man. What a great time. Thank you so much. And good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right.
Hey, before you go, take a moment and ask yourself, what did this episode reconnect you to? Because growth doesn't come from information alone. It comes from the connections we choose to make next.